eventually they would remember God again and cry out to him, and he would bring somebody to help them get delivered from that cycle. And then they would be rejoicing, and then we'll come back to that after I finish showing you this little clipping about Deborah. Make it a little more interesting for you all, okay?
And prepare for battle.
Now?
God has promised to bring Sisera, his army, and his people of Israel were ignoring God's commands. Because Israel was worshiping idols, God had allowed the Canaanites to rule over them. A Canaanite general named Sisera terrorized Israel for 20 years. The Israelites were defenseless against Sisera, who commanded 900 iron chariots. Realizing they were helpless, the Israelites finally cried out to God for help. Deborah was Israel's judge at that time. She often sat under a palm tree near her home, and there the people came to her to settle their arguments. One day, she sent for a military leader named Barak. When he came, she asked him a question. "Hasn't God already told you what to do?" she asked. "Gather 10,000 soldiers and prepare for battle. God has promised to bring Sisera, his army, and his iron chariots to the Kishon River. There, God will give you the victory." Barak was fearful and answered, "Are you going to come too? Because I won't go unless you agree to come with me." "Yes, I'll go with you," Deborah agreed, "but understand that you will not get the credit for killing Sisera. Instead, God will give the honor of taking Sisera's life to a woman." Barak gathered his 10,000 troops and went up Mount Tabor. When Sisera heard that Barak was gathering men to fight, Sisera moved his army and all 900 iron chariots near the Kishon River, just as God had said. Deborah announced to Barak, "Go now. The Lord has given Sisera into your hand today. Has not God already gone out before you to help you?" Barak and his men charged down from Mount Tabor, and as the Israelites advanced, God confused Sisera's army. God sent a powerful rainstorm that soaked the ground and caused the river to flood. Sisera's chariots sank deep into the mud. They were stuck and completely useless. Sisera's men tried to run from the Israelites, but the Israelites caught them and killed them. The flooded river carried other soldiers away. Every single one of Sisera's men died that day. Meanwhile, Sisera had jumped out of his chariot to run for his life. Sisera knew that the Canaanites were at peace with a man named Heber. Sisera headed straight for Heber's tents. Heber's wife Jael saw Sisera rush. "Come inside my tent," Jael invited. "Don't be afraid." Jael was being nice to Sisera, but she really considered him her enemy. Sisera hurried into the tent, and Jael covered him with a blanket and gave him some milk to drink. Sisera said, "Stand in the doorway of the tent, and if someone asks you if any man is in here, tell him no." Sisera was so worn out that he quickly fell asleep. Jael quietly moved over to him and killed him with a hammer and a tent peg before he had a chance to wake up. Then Jael waited outside the tent for Barak. "Come with me," Jael called to Barak, "and I will show you the man you're looking for." Barak followed her into the tent. To his surprise, he saw head on the tent floor. The honor for killing Sisera went to a woman, just as God had promised. Later, Deborah wrote a song about Israel's victory over Sisera and the Canaanites. She and Barak sang about God's greatness in the battle. God had rescued the people of Israel yet again. Nothing, not even 900 iron chariots, could stop God from keeping his promise to rescue the Israelites. God gave Israel peace for the next 40 years, but eventually Israel turned away from God again. God allowed another nation to trouble the Israelites. Again, the Israelites cried out for help, and God sent another judge to rescue them. This became a pattern for Israel: disobedience, crying out for God's help, victory, peace, over and over again. Israel's judges could help the Israelites fight against their enemies, but the judges couldn't save them from their real problem: sin. Hundreds of years later, God would send Jesus, his son, to die on the cross. God saves us from the punishment of our sins when we put our faith in Jesus' death as the payment for our sins. This gives us victory forever.
Deborah was the only female judge, and she used to sit under a palm tree to resolve people's problems. And a palm, if you even see in the New Testament, it signifies victory. Called Barak, to lead an army against Sisera. Sisera was the person who was the Canaanite who was
Commander.
yes, just a second. He was troubling the Israelites. Okay, and so Deborah heard clearly from God that Barak has to take his army and go, and he will meet the army of Sisera, and he will be able to defeat. But what did Barak say? He said, Deborah, I'll go only if you come with me. So she agreed to go, but she told him that now the promise of God is that victory and the honor would come to a woman. So and this woman was Jael or Yael, okay? The woman who gave refuge to Sisera in her tent. She heard what God had to tell her, and she killed Sisera while he was there in her tent taking refuge. And as God promised, the victory and the honor of killing Sisera was with Yael. Okay? So a few things I wanted to remember which came out, what even Merlin Auntie was saying, and which came out even in the animation was, it was a cycle of sin, crying out to the Lord, getting deliverance from God, forgetting God, living in a time of peace, forgetting God, then again sinning. And you have to remember that if we are not following God, or if we are following what we want to do, then we go into this cycle. We sin, we realize that we are going deep into sin, we realize that then we start crying out to God, God, please save me, please save me. Then we go back into trying to find a way out. God gives us a way out, and then we are happy with God, and then we start falling into sin again. And so later on, another thing that I want to point out is when she called Barak, she said, hasn't God already told you what you need to do? Many times God tells us what we need to do, but we doubt, and we are not confident of ourselves, and we are not confident in what we are supposed to do. We doubt what we are supposed to do. We doubt if God has told us what we are supposed to do. So it is very important to pray and listen to what God has to tell us, because when God tells us to do something, He is going before us. Like Deborah told Barak, hasn't God already gone before you? He's already laid out the path for you to get that victory, and that victory is in God's name. So when we hear God, are we confident enough to go out and know that God has gone before us to give us that victory? See, we have to remember we need to be ready to do what God wants us to do, because God doesn't have to do it through me. He would love to do it through me. That is why He tells me, but if I take a step back, He will raise up somebody else and get that work done by somebody else. But He would be so happy if I just listen to Him and do what He wants me to do. And another thing important, what Yael or Jael shows in her actions is you need to have your priorities straight. What you need to do is your priority. The first thing you need to do. And the first thing you need to do is honor and follow what God tells us to do. Okay? So we need to have our priorities straight. We need to listen to God. We need to go, because we know that go where He tells us to go, because He's gone before us, and we have to be in all readiness to carry out His instructions, because He is our deliverer. He will deliver us and He will give us that peace. But that peace remains through obedience and not through sinning.
So now I would like to talk about Gideon. Okay? And the first time how God, our angel of the God, met with Gideon, Gideon was leading a very normal life, but he was very much strong in his strong. He said, I am not going to give away my things to the enemy. So God saw that. So God sent His angel while he was threshing his wheat near the wine press in order to protect his wheat from the Midianites. An angel came to him and spoke to him and said, choose him. Said, God has selected you to lead Israel and to help them to get out of the hands of Midianites. So what happened? And then he said, okay, if that's so, let me make a sacrifice. He made a sacrifice of a goat and a bread, okay, and that part is over. And then what happened? The angel told him second thing. What is? Kill the second bull. And that time, what happened was all the Israelites were worshipping Baal. In the 10 commandments we have learned, there should not be any other god. But the Israelites didn't listen to that. They were worshipping Baal. So God was very sad. So angel said, you pull down the Asherah of Baal and build a sacrifice with the pole of Asherah of the Baal for the God Jehovah. And Gideon was very scared to do that. He's like, no, I cannot do that. I'm scared. But one thing I'll do it in the night. So when everybody is sleeping, what the mighty Gideon did, he pulled down the Asherah poles of the Baal and he made a sacrifice to God Jehovah. And God was so pleased with that. He was really pleased with that. But the people were angry at him. They said, who pulled down the Baal? Baal's Asherah. And they pounced on him. But Joash, the father of Gideon, said, why are you fighting for Baal? If Baal the God is powerful, let him fight. So his father saved him from the people, and the people were like, okay. And nothing happened to Gideon because he is serving the one and only mighty God Jehovah. And he is listening to, obeying his commandments. He's obeying, like, you should have only one God, that is God Jehovah. And then what happened is, he's encouraging Israelites to fight against Midianites because I'll tell you why. Everything, the food, the cattle, the gold, or whatever the Israelites has is being taken away by the Midianites. Like, Midianites are so strong and they're more in number. They're like a sand. The Bible says they were like the sand. The camels were like sand. So it means like the Midianites are more in number. So Israelites were scared. They have to hide in the caves. They have to hide in the trenches and all. Oh my God, imagine God's children are so scared of the enemy and hiding. No, that is not a good thing because our God is a powerful God, no? So then what happened? Gideon is encouraging every Israelites, come, let's fight a battle against Midianites. And then he's encouraging. But then what happened is, God is, with him, his strength is with Gideon. But Gideon is like, I want myself to believe strongly that God is with me. I want 2 signs. He's going to God and say, God, I know that you're with me, but I want 2 signs. Please give me 2 signs. So like when you're sad, do you kids go to God when you're sad or when you're confused? Will you go? God is encouraging you guys to go to him and speak to him. Your small talks, baby talks, how you speak to your friends, how you speak to your mom, dad, the pepper talks. God is encouraging actually everyone to go to him and talk to him like that. And Gideon went and said, God, I want 2 signs that you're with me. And he said, I'm spreading the wool on the sand now tonight. Let the wool be wet and the area around it be dry. Will it happen? No, right? When it rains or when the dew comes down, everything gets wet. But he is telling God, I'm putting a wool cloth here. Let the wool cloth be wet. Okay? And the surrounding area should be dry. He's praying like that. And then next day morning, he's running to his wool cloth to see what happened to that. When he went there and he squeezed the wool cloth and there was water coming, a mug of water came from the wool cloth, but the surrounding area was dry. So he was like, yes, I know. Yeah, God is with me. Again, next day saying, God, tonight, let the pool be dry. The surrounding area should be wet. And God granted his prayer also. Then next time the same thing happened. So he's like so bold and oh, my God is with me. I'm going to fight the battle because God is going to help us. And then, so all the army men came. They said, oh, we'll come to fight. We'll go for the battle. But then God was saying, I don't want the people to say that with our strength. Oh, I won the battle. I won that because I am strong. He doesn't want his people to say that. So he said, I want to choose few people. So he told Gideon to tell the people, like, those who are afraid can go back. So many of them left. Then he said, no, I want still to reduce the number. So he took them to the water body, or river or stream or whatever it is, and made them to drink water. And those soldiers, those licked the water and drank like how dogs drank. God said, choose them. But there were other people who were knelt down and drank the water. And God said, no, I want the people who licked the water and drank. So they didn't choose them. And it was 300 men. So what happened was, with the 300 men, he's going to big enemy. And the Bible says the camel were like sands. Sand, it means you cannot number how many of them. Imagine that. But God has his plan. And you know how they won the battle? That's the biggest thing for us to know, that because without might we cannot do. But with God's power, you can do a lot of things. And then what happened was, Gideon sent his army men with 3 things in their hand. Okay, an earthen pot, a trumpet, and a fire. So they were, imagine going to a battle without a sword. You know, battle is one with a sword or a javelin or the throwing thing. They didn't go with any of these things for the war. They're going not for a treaty or a talk or a hi-fi chat, or that they're going to fight. But they're going with 3 things: the trumpet, earthen pot, and the fire. So what happened was, these enemies, they went around these enemy where the enemy has camped. And before that, Gideon was not very, what to say, since he has been living, the Israelites have been living in under the fear. He was still, he know God is with us, but God wanted to encourage him. Okay, and God wanted to really encourage him. So what he did, God said, you go to the enemy's camp in the night. And Gideon was like, what? Enemy's camp in the night? And God said, yes, I want you to go to the Midianite camp in the night. And when he went there, he overheard the conversation between two enemy army men. And you know what they were talking? One man was saying, I saw a big barley bread rolling and coming and hitting our tents and uprooting us. In the sense, we are turning upside down. All our tents were turning upside down. Because, can you imagine that? A bread rolling down and uprooting or pulling down a tent? It doesn't happen. But he's saying, this is the dream I saw. And the second man in that enemy camp saying, oh no, you know what? It is the Gideon's. It's a Gideon. God is with him. He's that barley bread. So that when Gideon heard that, he's like, wow, God has given me the enemy in my hand. I'm going to fight the battle. He went back next day and he went the battle with the 3 things: the trumpet, the earthen pot, and the fire. And they went around the enemy camp in the night. They break the earthen pot, and enemy saw only light, the fire, and they started blowing the trumpet loudly. The enemy was so confused, so it got confusion there, and they fight each other. So Israelites had actually won the battle without sword, and they fought each other, and that's how Gideon won that battle. And they had peace for 40 years. And after the battle, they had peace for 40 years. So that's the story of Gideon. And I would really want to tell you kids, like, please go to God. Our God is ever present in our life. Holy Spirit is with us. When you are not feeling confident, when you have so much of confusion, when you're sad, when you're upset, when your mama scolds you, go to God. He's ever present. He's ever ready to help you. Like Gideon said, God, I want two ways. Just give me 2 signs so that I can believe it. Like that, go to God in your prayer. Okay? Thank you.
So, we just heard from Linda about the judge, Gideon. And now we will be seeing about the last judge. I mean, there are many judges in the book of Judges, but we'll be seeing about Samson right now. And we see that God has been defeating, helping the Israelites through these judges to defeat the Canaanites, the Midianites, the Ammonites. And now we will see from Savio, Uncle Savio. Over to you about Samson.
Hello. Okay. So how Samson came into being? There was a couple. An angel of the Lord visited that you are going to give birth to a baby, and she was like surprised because she couldn't conceive. She couldn't have kids, and your child will be the person who will help Israel to fight for Israel. And his name was Samson. That he should never cut his hair. Okay, that was one of the things that was told, that Samson's strength would come from his hair. The second thing the angel of the Lord told about Samson was that he shouldn't touch a dead body. And the third thing the angel of the Lord had told Samson's mom, that as he grows up, he shouldn't be drinking wine. Okay, so he grew up. He became so strong, and he was like, he could, once he even killed a lion all by himself with his hands. There was a lion that came and pounced on him, and he just caught him and tore him apart by his hands. Not just that, there was a time where there were like 1,000 Philistines who came and took him. He took the jaw of a donkey and he hit all of those 1,000 Philistines and killed all of them. And he was so strong. Can you imagine one person attacking 1,000 people? I mean, that guy would have had to be like really, really very strong. Okay, so he was very strong, and his strength came from God. And so the Philistines wondered, like, how can we catch hold of this guy and find out what is his strength and how can we attack him? So they found Delilah. She was someone that Samson loved in that time. So they told Delilah, the Philistines called Delilah and said, if you can help us to find out what is the strength of Samson, and you can help him to be captured, we'll give you a lot of things. And what else can you do? So Delilah said, okay, fine, I will help you guys. And then Delilah slowly tried to trick Samson. She went to Samson and said, Samson, can you please tell me what is the secret of your strength? That you are so strong and so mighty. What is all this strength of yours, and where is it coming from? What is the secret of your strength? And Samson said, if you put a string and tie me up, I won't be able to untie myself. So she said, is it? He said, yeah. And then one fine day, they tie up Samson, and Delilah says, hey, here the Philistines have come and to attack you. And Samson gets up, he just unties the entire string, and he defeats the Philistines, and they go away. And then the second time, Delilah says, like, but you said if you were untied with the string, you couldn't come out of it. He's like, well, not with the strings. If you tie me up with a rope, I wouldn't be able to untie myself. So the second time they come and they tie him up with a rope. And this time again, Delilah says to Samson, look here, the Philistines have come to attack you. And again he unties himself, and he breaks open the rope and he destroys the Philistines. And again the Delilah says, how come that you said if you tie yourself with the rope, you cannot come out of it? Then he's like, no, my hair has 7 braids. If I'm tied up by my hair, and only then I cannot, I don't have the strength to come out of it. So the third time they tie up all his hair, and again Delilah says, like, Samson, here the Philistines have come to attack you. Destroys all the Philistines. This time Delilah is very upset with Samson, and she says, Samson, do you really love me? I've been telling you, tell me the secret of your strength, and every time you don't tell me the truth. I don't think you love me. And then Samson says, well, I'm really sorry. Actually, the strength is in my hair, and so if I am not supposed to cut my hair, that's per the instruction of God. So now that she knows the secret, she tricks him by, when he goes to sleep, and the Philistines they come and they shave off the entire hair that he has. Now when the Philistines, she again screams at Samson, Samson, see, the Philistines have come to attack you. And then when he wakes up, he sees that all the hair on his head is all gone, and he has no more strength to fight the Philistines. The Philistines capture him, they enslave him, they blind his eyes, and he has no eyes. Now he can't even see, and they've taken him into captivity as a prisoner. And he goes with the Philistines, and the Philistines make him to work over there. And then one fine day, sometime later, the Philistines, they say, okay, now we have a feast to our God, and we're going to showcase Samson and make fun of him, and say, Samson, we're going to bring you in front of everyone. Come on, show us your strength. And they make fun of him, thinking he has lost all his strength. He doesn't have any strength anymore, and let's all make fun of him. And it's a big feast going on, and there's a lot of people over there during that feast. And Samson over there prays to God, saying, God, please help me one last time. I'm sorry, please help me one last time. Help me defeat these entire Philistines over here, and help me destroy all of them. And I also don't want to live, even if I die, but help me to destroy all these Philistines. Just one last time, God, please help me. And then God answers his prayer. It's been a long time that Samson was in captivity. So over time, we always cut our hair because it grows up. So over time, his hair also had grown up. As his hair grew up, he regained the strength back from God, and God answered his prayer. So when they took him, Samson said, I need to stand by 2 pillars. So he goes and they put him beside 2 strong pillars, if you see any construction, there are pillars that are very strong that hold the entire building. So he was holding on to the 2 strong pillars, and as he prayed, God gave him the strength. He pushed the 2 pillars. As he pushed the 2 pillars that he was holding on to, his strength came back, and God gave him so much strength that the entire temple, that was a temple, that entire temple broke down. And as the full temple came down, all the Philistines that were there in the temple, everybody was crushed under the temple, and everybody died under the temple, so including Samson. And that's how Samson killed so many people in that one incident that he had ever killed in his entire lifetime, fighting and overcoming. That was a story of Samson. So God has created each one of us. It could be anybody, every one of you who's listening. God has a plan and purpose for our lives, and God has great plan and purpose for our lives. When we find out what is God's plan for us, and when we go to God and say, God, and pray, God, help me to know what is your plan for my life. Maybe when you grow up, God wants you to be a doctor, an engineer, or whatever it could be. It could be a friend, maybe God wants you to help a friend that is in your class, or somebody who's maybe sick, and your friend is sick with the corona sickness that is right now. And then if you're praying, if you're really concerned, and you pray to God, Not God could answer, God will answer your prayer if you earnestly pray to God. Because Bible says God is close to little children. And Bible also says if you're, as children, and we learn from Samson that God answered Samson's prayer. God had a purpose for Samson's life. So if you want God to use you, ask God, God, use me. Here I am. And God is the one who gives you the strength to accomplish what He has His purpose for your life. And it's not how small you are, how big you are, because it's God. God is God. We cannot imagine or think how big our God is with our little box, little mind that we have. He's a big God. Amen. Over to you, Merlin.
Yes. Thank you, Savio and Linda and Pushpa, for your input about the different judges we saw today. And God delivers Israel through these judges, and He proves Himself to be faithful to His side of the covenant. We have come to the end, all summarizing it, that Israel violates every time through their continued disobedience, and yet God delivers them. So God is always faithful on His side. He is always for His children. God shows His grace, He shows His mercy. Time and again I've been hearing each one saying, our God is so big. I feel we should have sang that song. Our God is so big, so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. So we have come to the end over here. Each of these judges, whether it was Barak, Gideon, Samson, each of them that are mentioned here, they had their flaws, they had their weaknesses. They were not perfect people, they were not perfect leaders, yet their names are written in Hebrews, that is in the New Testament, chapter 11, verse 32. Their names are mentioned there as men of faith. Great faith in God. These are men of great faith in God. So we end up here by one last scripture, because Judges ends with one line. Everyone in Israel was doing what was right in their own eyes. Just do that. Just do that. If you all can point towards your own eyes. Yeah. In Israel, everyone did what was right in their own eyes. This is what I see, and that is what I think is right, and I am doing it. But there's also in Judges, in the start of Judges, it says, children of Israel did evil in the sight of God. You can see there are two different opposite things. There's one thing, they're doing what is right in their own eyes. They think it is right to do, so they're doing it. But what we have to be doing is, what is right in the eyes of, if not right in my eyes, what is right in my eyes may not be right in God's eyes. Correct? So we have to be careful here, because if we keep doing what is right in our own eyes, we may be contradicting God. Okay, so Judges shows that if everyone followed the advice, that is doing what is right in your own eyes, then there would be disaster. Okay? So think of your own life where you may be doing things which are right in your eyes but may not be right in the eyes of God. What is it? Just ask yourself. The lesson we learn is that we don't get into the same cycle that the book of Judges was talking about, that the people of Israel went through. Disobedience, oppression by the enemy, and then crying out to God, but God still saves us, and we will have our time of rest. Okay, so let's end up here. I think someone can just pray.
Lord Jesus, today, I pray whatever we have learned today, each of us will apply it to our lives. And during the lockdown, we will spend more time with your word. And bless us all, and thank you for listening. Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah.